Hello, my name's James. I'm one of the founders of Bastion, and today we're going to talk about our new archetype, which is a combination of 10 years of development and learning on the bikes that we make. Firstly, I was going to talk a little bit about the materials that we use. So titanium powder and carbon fiber, and we buy carbon fiber filament and some other types as well. And where these materials get used on our frames, the titanium obviously is used to 3D print lugs. For our tubes, we make them using a combination of woven and filament wound carbon fibers. So the reason that we do that is we're exploiting the best of both worlds. So we're getting the best out of, in the long sections of the bike, we have long point-to-point beams essentially. That's where we want to use carbon fiber. It's the highest stiffness to weight ratio material that we can employ, where carbon fiber is very good at going in straight lines. So it's the most efficient material for us to use to get excellent stiffness, but low weight. Where we have complex loads and changes of direction, carbon fiber is very difficult to use in those situations. So that's where we feel an isotropic material like titanium does a much better job there. Also has the added benefit of wherever we have a bearing fit or a precision fit, where the headset bearings are, or where the bottom bracket bearings are, or where the wheel hub attaches, it's a metal on metal interface. So we're not bolting or relying on essentially a plastic on metal interface. If you've ridden a full tyre bike, lots of people will talk about how smooth it is and how the road buzz is muted out. We get some of those benefits by employing the titanium at the nodes or the lugs of the frame, but without the mass of a complete titanium frame because we're using the carbon fiber tubes. So that's the basic architecture of our bikes. Some of the more detailed design and structures we can do using the 3D printed titanium is pretty incredible. So this is a cut section of a bottom bracket portion from our Superleggera. You can see we employ structural lattice on the inside. We have wormholes where the brake hoses need to go. We have complete design freedom over where we use material and what it's for, and it allows us to create pretty amazing structures. So all of the titanium components throughout the bike utilize this kind of design strategy and structural design. So probably talk in a little bit more detail about the archetype and what it is. And this really embodies the bike that we wanted to build when we started the company. Over the last 10 years, we've built up our capability in 3D printing, which is done in-house here. We have 4 Renishaw AM systems that are printing the titanium, but also our capability in making carbon fiber tubes. This is a down tube from the archetype, and you can see that the profile, all of the profiles on the archetype are based on a NACA 0033 airfoil section, which has been truncated at 45% of its chord length. And they're produced, as I said, with a combination of woven fiber and filament winding. Spec-wise, going from the back to the front, it accepts a UDH rear derailleur. We've got enough tyre clearance for a 35C tyre. T47 bottom bracket standard across the board. The seat post cap's been completely redesigned. Adjustability in there that we didn't used to have on the old seat post cap. Has 2 positions, fore and aft, and flip chips. So if you do change your fit or change your saddle, you've got a lot more flexibility in the position that the saddle can be adjusted to. And you've still got vertical adjustability. Even though we build the bike down to the millimetre based on your bike fit, we still have plus or minus 10 millimetres of adjustment built into the seat post cap. So that, again, if your fit changes or you change your crank length or you change your saddle, you can still adjust that plus or minus 10 millimetres. And then towards the front of the bike, we're utilising essentially structurally a carryover cockpit. We have been producing our own bar stem and our own fork on the Superleggera for a long time, and that system's been upgraded and updated to suit the archetype, particularly the integration of the crown with the head bracket lower, and the dropouts have been revised as well. Some of the detail going on in this front end here, particularly with the stem, it's completely integrated cables. Obviously all the cables are hidden, and the way that we do that without compromising the structural integrity of the stem, because we want to maintain essentially what is a cantilever beam. It takes a lot of load when you're riding. what we've done is the brake cables actually travel through these wormholes, which are integrated into the 3D printed part. And those wormholes travel from, if you're on the left-hand side, it travels and sends you left up to the lever there, and this right-hand hole will travel up there. So it means we can maintain a really stiff but light part. And what that translates to on the road is a lot of what our customers talk about is really planted feeling, particularly descending from this front-end system. The fact that we produce the fork and the bar stem in-house means we have complete control over fork rake, for example. So what that lets us do, because every bike is custom built, we can tune the fork rake down to the millimetre to really pinpoint the handling characteristics that we want. And that's part of the design conversation that we have with our customers, as well as the bike fit, which is kind of the base level of the design. Once we have a bike fit information that either do here at Bastion with us or comes through one of our partners, we'll design the bike around the customer down to the millimetre so that their fit is perfect. But then we have the further tuning capability, especially at the front end, to adjust things like fork rake and head tube angles so that we can find those handling characteristics, which we plot metrics against known bikes and bikes that the customer maybe owned before, to understand before we've printed any metal and committed to the design somewhat how that bike's going to handle. As part of the development of the archetype, one of the first prototypes was sent to the Silverstone Wind Tunnel in the UK, and we got really good feedback and results from that activity. Compared to the Superleggera, we're expecting people to be saving 18 to 25 watts at 50 kilometres an hour. Even at a more reasonable speed of 35 kilometres an hour, over the old bike, we're saving 6 to 8 watts. So there's measurable difference in what's been done with the tube shapes and some of the optimizations, but without compromising the comfort and the torsional stiffness of our previous bike. So all of those kind of road feel and handling characteristics have been maintained, but with the added optimization of some aerodynamic shapes. We also been producing our own cranks for some time now, so the cranks are an option with any of our Bastions. We 3D print the crank arm as one piece, and it gets post-machined for the spindle interface and the pedal interface. We also produce the spindle. So spindle is comprised of two 3D printed titanium ends and a carbon fibre torque tube in between. And these ends are printed to near net shape and then post-machined back for all of the precision details so that the fit with the crank arm is perfect and the spline detail to the spider is perfect and threaded portions. So these can be done in practically any length. This is a 165, but we have flexible machining fixtures that can go down to 155, and as long as I'm running 177 halves. So in theory, we could do crank arms at any length. So the new archetype has many new components compared to the old bike. So there's 42 new components in this bike. It's taken 73 new tools. There's more than 4,000 hours of R&D being done. So even though from a distance it subtly maybe doesn't look so different, every single lug and tube has been optimized and refined from the Superleggera. It feels like we did 9 years of development, and then we did in the 10th year we did it all again. The team that we've got here now, everybody being responsible for their own areas, we're able to produce all the tooling we need to make a new bike like this. So that's a brief introduction to the new archetype. Configure it on our website, and we hope to see you soon.